Hello everyone, welcome to RS Craftworks. Been a while again unfortunately, and I do apologise for that. But we are here for another episode of the Great Guitar Build of 2021. And this is the stage we're at now. I've got the truss rod installed in the neck blank. I've got these cavities carved out and mostly finished. I still need to clean up the bottom floor of them. And pretty much starting to get to the next levels of the Great Guitar Build-Off. So, let's see how I got to this stage. Magic mostly. I reckon it's magic somehow. I just snapped my fingers and it just ended up that way, didn't it? So, I've gotten a lot of this cut out, as you can see here. I'm actually really liking the shape of the body, the bottom of the body, I should say. Don't take that out of context. But I always struggle with the horn side of things. Now, these shapes, again, not out of context here. The shapes of these, I wanted them to look like the tops of clock towers. Since this is the RS Clockworks, I wanted a clock tower theme, kind of. One thing I always struggle to do is to make the horns look right, because to me, the way it's drawn right now, hopefully you can see there, I don't know, it just doesn't work for me for some reason. But usually what happens is I don't like it before I cut it out. I cut it out and shape it properly and it looks amazing afterwards. So it's a really difficult thing to get over. I might just cut them out and whatever happens, happens. I can always round them off and make them more homogeneous later. But yeah. The struggles of being a designer as well as a maker. Now, I've gone slightly insane here, which a lot of you might think that, but I've decided I've gotten recently a set of gouges which I have sharpened up nicely, and what I need to do at the moment with the guitar is to thickness the actual body shape of it. So usually I just go ham with a hand plane and go for it and inevitably ruin it. But I've decided recently in woodworking, I've found a couple techniques that seem to be working out, whereas I've seen people carve down the edges of thick pieces of wood, especially wider pieces, and then they just carve to it and then plane to it. So I'm going to give that a try. Now, obviously, this is not an efficient way of doing this. This is just me because I have sharp tools and I enjoy using sharp tools. So if I can just somehow shimmy this down. You can see here, I'm just going around the edges. I have marked the edges with a marking gauge, a circular marking gauge there. Just went all around like that to mark the thickness of my body that I want for now. And I'm just going around the edges and carving, in some cases to the line. Most of the cases I want to stay away from the line because I don't want to plane past it too much. Even if I do, it's not a big deal. But that'll be the idea. So let's see if I can get some satisfying carving shots. So, I've got this headstock shape here. Well, it's not exactly a shape, it's just a block right now. But what I want to do is, I've got a normal fender style neck here, and you can see it's actually a straight headstock. Now, one thing about straight headstocks is that these need string trees in order to hold the string tension on the headstock side of things. Instead of doing that, what I want to do is angle this back slightly. It's not going to be as angled as a normal, say, Gibson style headstock, but I want it to be angled very slightly, and there's just enough material to angle this slightly. So what I do is I happen to have an old neck from my very first electric guitar that I've ever owned, actually, and I'm just going to use that to visually see where I can get this headstock. And then just have a little reference line there, and maybe one on the back side. And then there's my angle, sort of planned out, and I just extend those with a ruler. Or alternatively, you can use one of these things and just measure it out to the angle that you want, and then just draw it in that way. Works just as well. Oh gosh, holding the ruler is an issue. So that's just about what I'm after there. Alright, so I will knife those lines in just as a reference for my planing and start cutting that down. Wish me luck, because I'm going to have to do this all by hand again. Just going along this, I've knifed in the two edges of the truss rod slot here. One thing I realised is, looking back at my old projects, this is the first time I've done a neck through guitar, and usually with the neck disassembled from the guitar, you could just clamp this into wherever you want, make yourself an easy fencing system, and then you're good to go. This got a lot of things in the way. So one thing I've learned from this project is that power tools don't like me recently. So I'm finding myself having to figure out hand tool techniques, and this is one I've seen very often, where you knife in all your lines, cut to cut, and instead of going for one big chunk with your chisel, you just make a series of relief cuts and then take the lot out once you've made it easier to cut. So that's what I'm going for today. It takes time, unfortunately, and I've not had a lot of time recently, but hey ho. The only way to get a quality product really is if you put your time into it, or if you have the investments for proper machinery to do this type of stuff. But gotta know the basics before you get to the advanced stuff. Alright, now these relief cuts here, you can already see they're flaking off because I've weakened them. So in theory, it should be a case of just getting my chisel in one way or another and just going along. That's the basic technique of trying to get like a straight, I guess this is a mortise, a trough, a gully, I don't know. But this is one of the tried and tested ways, and really it's very effective. You just rinse and repeat and go as deep as you want, and then you just got to flatten your floor if you need it to be flat. And that's the idea, really. So I'm just going to carry on plugging away at this until I get the correct depth. Wish me luck. Alright then, so I did say I was going to finish the trough using a router bit smaller, go easy on it, but like I've been saying recently, power tools have not been agreeing with me. They just don't agree with me recently. So I've been sticking with hand tools, and I mean, it works, it does its job. Basically, it's just, I made my own router plane. The poorest, Paul Sellers did a tutorial about a poor man's router plane, and this is basically it. You drill a hole slightly smaller than the width of your chisel into a random piece of wood. I just had some lying around, and then I just hammer it through. It holds it steady, it holds at a consistent depth, and then all I've got to do is just, this chisel's the one I've been using to make the truss rod cavity anyway, and then I just go in there and just slowly work my way across and keep it consistent. Now, I'm not looking for it to look pretty, because all it's going to do is hold the truss rod in place. I just don't want it to go too deep. So as long as it's consistent, I can always clean it up later if I really need to. And this will do the job nicely. So, yeah. Watch Paul Sellers, watch other woodworkers. They may have nice tips like this for you. Only trouble I'm going to have is how I'm going to get this... getting this off is going to be a pain. But yeah. A nice little tip if you just want to stick with hand tools. Alright then, so that is my truss rod cover, truss rod slot cut by hand tools only. Considering I am a complete amateur and an idiot wielding a hammer, and I could get a job done like that completely by hand, just goes to show you a couple neat tricks and you can not go really wrong. So yet more carving to do. Let's carry on with it. Basically, I'm attacking things with my new drill press. God, this is going to get loud. And there you have it. The only things that I don't think I filmed, not that I remember at this point, because everything is filmed way out of order, is all I've done is I've carved these, if you can see along the edges there, I've carved a little cutout there. That's going to be like a sound hole entry way. So that's the only other thing I've done extra. But the next stages are basically focusing on this fretboard here, which I've sort of profiled to shape. I'm going to be binding it, and I'm going to be starting to get it attached to the neck blank, and then after that, much more carving. An awful lot of carving on this project, but it'll get there slowly. But thank you all for watching my video today. Hope everyone's enjoying these videos. Thank you again for everyone who's been keeping up with me so far, even though I've been posting very little very recently. And I hope you are having fun out there. Hope you're enjoying the rest of the contestants of the Great Guitar Build-Off. The Invitational Great Guitar Build-Off just finished, didn't it? And my goodness, some great projects. I still need to catch up personally, but everything's going very well. So I hope you're having fun. Take care, everyone. See you in the next video.